at 80 degrees. At 11, at 82 degrees, there will be 30% of rain. At 12, at 83 degrees, there will be 35% of rain. There will be some respite at 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. at 83 degrees. However, the winds will be back at 2 p.m. at 30 degrees. At 30% at 84 degrees. Highest temperatures is 84, lowest is 75. Cloudy conditions are expected in Delta right about now. Wind gusts are up to 5 miles per hour. Bayelsa is going to be a rainy day too. 78 degrees past 9 a.m. in Bayelsa. At 10 a.m. it will rise to 79 degrees. If you can see the pictorial right there, Bayelsa is actually having 55% of rain right about now. At 10 a.m. they'll have 45%, which will cut across till 12 p.m. At 12, it will rise to 81 degrees. At 1 p.m., 82 degrees at 50% of rain. At 2 p.m., 83 degrees at 45% of rain. Wind gusts are up to 6 miles per hour. Highest temperatures predicted at 83 degrees and lowest at 74. Rivers is up next. Let's take a look at Rivers. It is 79 degrees past 9 a.m. in Rivers State. At 10 a.m., it will rise to 82 degrees. At 11, 84. At 12, 86. At 1 p.m., 86, remaining so till 2 p.m. Rainy conditions are expected around 1 p.m. Wind gusts are up to 5 miles per hour. Highest temperatures predicted at 86 degrees and lowest at 74. Enugu is 78 degrees past 9 a.m. this morning. Enugu at 10 a.m. will present 80 degrees. At 11, 82. At 12 p.m., 84. It will rise to 85 at 1 p.m. and 86 at 2 p.m. Partly cloudy conditions are expected in the afternoon at about 4 p.m. Wind gusts are up to 6 miles per hour. Highest temperatures is 87 degrees and lowest at 73. Let's take a look at Imo. I know we have Imo this morning. Yeah, Imo is right there. It is 79 degrees past 9 a.m. in Imo. At 10 a.m. it will rise to 82 degrees. At 11, 84. At 12, 87 degrees. However, the weather will begin to change at 1 p.m. 20% of rain is expected in the afternoon at 88 degrees, remaining so at 2 p.m. at 25% of rain. Rainy conditions are expected around 11 a.m. Wind gusts are up to 4 miles per hour. Highest temperatures is 88 and lowest predicted at 73. All right, let's take a journey to Lagos. We have Lagos this morning. Ooh, you can see the pictorial. It is all rain in Lagos. Rainy conditions are expected. In fact, it's been raining since 8 a.m. in Lagos. It is 81 degrees past 9 a.m. in Lagos this morning. It will rise to 82 at 10 a.m. At 11 a.m., 83. At 12, 84. At 1 p.m., 85. And at 2 p.m., 84. Rainy conditions, like I said, have started already. Thunderstorms expected also. Highest temperatures, 85. Lowest, 78. All right, let us come back to Abuja. Abuja today, it is 78 degrees past 9 a.m. in Abuja. It will rise to 80 degrees by 10 a.m. At 11 a.m. it will rise to 83. At 12, 84. At 1 p.m., I beg your pardon, 86. And at 2 p.m., 87. Partly cloudy conditions are expected around 4 p.m. Wind gusts are up to 8 miles per hour. Highest temperatures predicted at 88 and lowest at 72. All right, we have Benue this morning. Let's take a look at what Benue has in terms of weather. Benue this morning, it is 80 degrees past 9 a.m. in Benue. At 10 a.m. it will rise to 82 degrees. At 11, 85. At 12, 87 degrees. At 1 p.m., 89, rising further to 90 degrees at 2 p.m. Partly cloudy conditions are expected around 3 p.m. Wind gusts are up to 13 miles per hour. Highest temperatures 91, lowest 75. Play 2 is up next. Play 2 this morning, the sun, you can see the sun out there. It is 74 degrees past 9 a.m. in Play 2. At 10 a.m. it will rise to 78. At 11, 81. At 12, 83 degrees. At 2 p.m. it will rise to 85 degrees. Rainy conditions are expected in the afternoon. Wind gusts up to 11 miles per hour. Highest temperatures 85, lowest at 66. Kano, let's take a look at what Kano has in terms of weather this morning. It is 84 degrees past 9 a.m. in Kano. It will rise to 87 at 10 a.m. At 11, 91 degrees. At 12, 93 degrees. At 1 p.m., 96, rising to 97 at 2 p.m. Sunny conditions are expected around 10 a.m. Wind gusts are up to 21 miles per hour. Highest temperatures 97, lowest 78. And finally, Kaduna this morning. Let's see what Kaduna has. It is 78 degrees past 9 a.m. in Kaduna this morning. At 10 a.m. it will rise to 81. At 11, 84. At 12, 86. At 1 p.m., 88. And at 2 p.m., 89. Partly cloudy conditions expected around 12 p.m. Wind gusts are up to 15 miles per hour. Highest temperatures 90 and lowest at 73. There you have it, our weather update this morning. If your state was mentioned, you definitely know what to do. If it's ready, your umbrella, your boots, and just protect yourself. If it's hot, you know what to do. Stay hydrated. Your bottle of water, your sunshades, your face cap, your bucket hat, whatever you have, just ensure you protect yourself. All right, let's go straight on now to our front pages. And this morning, I will start with the Nigerian Tribune. The Nigerian Tribune this morning, I think almost all the papers have the thank you message from Tinubu on their front page. This morning, the Nigerian Tribune is the same, the thank you message from Tinubu. This morning, you want to find out why, then pick up a copy. But aside that story, we will place Nigeria on a irreversible path of economic expansion with another 4 years, says Tinubu, as he gets certificate of return for winning APC presidential primary. That's on page 3. So you know why all the papers are carrying the thank you message from the president. All right, that's the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Let's see what other papers have for us. All right, let's take a look at the Daily Independent. The Daily Independent this morning. The Daily Independent has the screaming headlines just below the mast. It says economic reforms alone won't spark private sector growth. Economic reforms alone won't spark private sector growth. That is the screaming headlines on the Daily Independent today. Aside that, Tinubu pledges to deepen economic reforms, strengthen security. Still on the Daily Independent, outrage grows in Nigeria over a surge in digital transfer charges. So much charges, if you ask me, is making me go all giddy. You don't know, from one point to the next, the charges just keep mounting up. We've talked about overtaxation, and this is an era of overtaxation. If there is any, I tell you, it is too much. Every breath, there is something to pay for it. Okay, that is the Daily Independent story this morning. Let us check what other papers have for us this morning. All right, let us move on now to the New Telegraph. The New Telegraph this morning also has the picture of the pictorial of Tinubu holding his certificate of return, a toast to President Tinubu, who the cap fits. So you have the report right there. Nigeria at high risk of Ebola importation, NCDC warns. activates emergency response teams. We do hope that the warnings will be taken seriously beyond words. That's what action now, not the reaction later, where a lot of money and lives will be lost. The warnings are out there. Other nations are doing the needful. Nigeria too should be on top of his health check to ensure we do not have Ebola in this nation. We have a lot that we're grappling with now, not to talk about something as deadly as Ebola finding its way into Nigeria and spreading. So the NCDC has sent out the warning. All hands must be on deck to ensure that it's not transported into Nigeria. See on the story, Sanwo-Olu triggers surveillance response. Away from that, 2027 presidency, Tinubu polls 10,999,967 votes, accepts APC's nomination. All right, fuel suppliers show down. AGF moves to defend Nigeria's energy security in Dangote suit. All right. Let's move on now to the authority. The authority this morning says 2027 presidential primaries, I'll not stop my reforms. Tinubu vows. That two writers to the story receive certificate of return as APC candidate. Scores 10.9 million votes to defeat opponent with 16,503. Away from that story, APC boasts of growing national appeal as primary elections end. Ex-finance minister sworn in as Benin's president. Ex-finance minister sworn in as Benin's president. Peter Obi denies anti-North allegations as political falsehood. NSITF committed to protecting vulnerable workers, Falaye. More stories on the front page of the authority. Shatima pushes deeper Nigeria-Benin ties at President Wadagni's inauguration. No markets, barrels, farm work on presidential election day in Ebonyi. Umahi rules. Man jailed for 12 years for trafficking teenagers to Ghana for prostitution. All right, let's move on to more papers. More papers this morning. The leadership. Let's take a look at the leadership. The leadership this morning. The screaming headlines. Tinubu wins APC primary with 10.9 million votes, says rivals lack alternative vision. Above the mast, NCAA suspends services to Air Peace. IBAM value jet coveting 7 others over debts. Beside that story, Atiku Amechi Ayatuddin vie for ADC presidential ticket today. Kachuku emerges factional candidate. Cooking gas price soars again, hits 2,000 naira per kg. It is well. Okay. Still on the leadership. Nigeria at high risk of Ebola importation, NCDC. You already took that story in the other paper. Bandits kill 3 church worshippers, abduct 15 in Kwara. Waiting for the day we won't see such headlines, but it's a reality. The front pages carry them. When we come here, we have to keep you abreast of happenings. And unfortunately, again, this has made the front page of our daily. It is our reality. All right, let's move on to the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian newspaper this morning also has votes. Above that story, there's a story on OPay. We won't take that. But the Guardian also has that screaming headline on the Tinubu story. Okay, the Vanguard newspaper this morning. The Vanguard, this is the next paper, and the Vanguard also has a pictorial of Tinubu, the Tinubu story, a toast to President Tinubu, who the cap fits. Have we taken the Vanguard before? I don't know, I can remember. Nigerian situation these days. 2027 31 APC governors endorsed Tinubu with 10.99 million votes. Others say 10.9 million votes. Others say 10.99 million votes. Well, no matter the votes or the count, he has his certificate already. Now, away from that, absence of insurance cover for airports exposes federal government to losses, compensation claims. The Ebola story is still on the front page of the Vanguard this morning. The warning by the NCDC. All right, the Nation newspaper this morning has the same story, the Tinubu story. Thank you all, says Tinubu. Tinubu wins with 10.9 million votes. That means there's another 10.9 million, 10.99 million, like I said. Tinubu won. So that's what is important. The Nation also has that story this morning. I know we have more papers. The Daily Trust. Let's take a look at the Daily Trust this morning. The Daily Trust says APC presidential primaries, Atiku, Amechi, Ayatollah battle for ticket. APC primaries, governors outdo one another as Tinubu nets over 10 million votes. Nigeria remains World Bank's third largest borrower with $18.5 billion US. Nigeria remains World Bank's third largest borrower with $18.5 billion US. Disruptions loom as NCAA places airlines on no service order. Edo-Kabir commuters spend hours on Abuja-Kaduna highway. All right, the new Nigeria. Let's take a look at the new Nigeria. The new Nigeria, this morning, the new Nigerian. Insecurity. Nigeria needs urgent, decisive action to end cycle of violence, PFN. Says country must be rescued security strategy. Nigeria will be better if Christians adhere to teachings of Jesus, Reverend Magai. APC primary Sabo I don't know, is it GRA or Sabo Gra this morning? Okay, Edo-Kabir, Yari donates 700 rams to neighbors. Okay. All right. Pray for peace, prosperity. Hajj committee pleads with Kaduna pilgrims. Presidential primaries. Matawali leads Zamfara APC members to elect Tinubu for 2027. How a return from the gates of the other world. We want to find out the story. It's on page 19. It's on the new Nigerian. All right, the matrix is next. Let's take a look at the matrix. 2027, I'll protect Nigerians, restore peace, Tinubu vows. Says our economy has undergone significant structural reform, secures APC presidential ticket with landslide 11 million votes at primary. Come on, 10 million, 10.9 million, 10.99 or 11 million, which one? Whoa, it is interesting. Nigeria risks economic collapse if fuel imports continue. CPPE fires warning. At President Wadagni's inauguration, federal government pushes deeper Nigeria-Benin ties. All right, let's move on to the Daily Monitor. The Daily Monitor this morning, we have more papers. The Daily Monitor says, we won't allow opposition to drag Nigeria back, Tinubu vows. We have 3 riders. Renews pledges to serve Nigeria with greater determination. Calls on National Assembly to amend the Constitution to allow state police. Says reforms already delivering results. Above the mast, SMP Dangote refinery driving Nigeria's economic resurgence. We have more troops rescue 92 kidnapped victims for terrorist IED ambush in Borno. All right, let's see what more papers we have this morning. The People's Daily. We have the People's Daily this morning. Let's take a look. It says 2027, Tinubu wins APC presidential primary with 10.9 million votes. vows a sustained fight against banditry, terrorism. No party can defeat APC, Uwada boast. All right. Sokoto Yobe ADC adopt Atiku as presidential candidate. Edel Kabir, soaring RAM prices scare of buyers in FCT Nasarawa. Army nabs 13 illegal miners in FCT, force attacks nationwide. The cabal, let's take a look at the cabal this morning. The cabal, the screaming headline, Muslim ticket, doubt over Shatima's fate as Tinubu gets APC's nod. Clinches presidential ticket with 10.99 million votes. Lobbying in support of retaining Shatima intensifies. Mr. President still consulting on choice of running mate. All right, there's more. Tinubu borrows 65.9 trillion naira in 2 years, exceeding Nigeria's 55-year debt. Okay. 2027, Ohaneze backs Tinubu's re-election, targets vice president slot under APC in 2030. NDLEA nabs Chinese national, bust 2.1 billion naira drug syndicate. Nigeria prepares for possible Ebola outbreak, says NCDC. PFN decries worsening insecurity calls for divine intervention. Ajao Kuta's uncertain future, Nigeria's still ambition amid UK deal. Serap demands details of $460 million Abuja CCTV project contractors. The Nigerian News Direct is up next. On the Nigerian News Direct this morning, APC primaries, Tinubu pledges inclusive governance, guides APC nomination. All right, that is the last paper this morning. Most of the papers carried the congratulatory message of Tinubu. We didn't actually get enough detail of happenings apart from those on insecurity. So this morning, discuss looking beyond the present situation in the nation, especially the Nigerian political dynamics. We want to take a look at something different come 2027 or towards 2027, the place of the Nigerian youth and women in the whole mix. We'll never get to see much of that. Go by the newspaper this morning. All the papers, all the dailies, all the papers carried the pictorial of the returning, the desire of the sitting president to return without much on anything else. So this morning, we'll be taking a look at 2027. Our focus, more or less, is going to be 2027, but we're looking at a demographic that is hardly ever talked about, the women's place, and of course, the Nigerian youth. We'll take a break. Hopefully, my guests are here. I do hope they're here. And when we return, the conversation. Stay with us.
Imagine a beautiful world. That's our slogan at KAFTAN TV. Hello there, I am Ruben Okala.
Hello, I'm glad to have you join us again on the News on the Hour, reaching you live from our studio in the nation's capital.
And that has been the news. Many thanks for watching. My name is Fatima Abbas Hassan. I'm Bill Baba today.
I am Kirian.
The politics of Lagos State is still very much in the hands of the leaders.
My name is Dayo Omogun. I've not done a change of name.
To Adebayo Film and Theatre Arts Network.
We always dish out beautiful materials.
Imagine a beautiful world. That's our slogan at KAFTAN TV. Hello there, I am Ruben Okala.
Hello, and glad to have you join us again on the News on the Hour, reaching you live from our studio in the nation's capital.
And that has been the news. Many thanks for watching. My name is Fatima Abbas Hassan. I'm the Kitchen Baba today.
I am Kirian.
The politics of Lagos State is still very much in the hands of the leaders.
My name is Dayo Omogun. I've not done a change of name.
To Adebayo Film and Theatre Arts Network.
We always dish out beautiful materials. Imagine a beautiful
in Abuja. The main agenda here is the promotion of made in Nigeria products.
Could this trigger the much needed change in the telecom industry for better service delivery?
Yes, welcome back. It is still the press. I'm still expecting my guests to come into the studio. A guest that called to say that they're having traffic issues. I'm actually expecting two guests, a male and a female. But before they come, we're taking a look at 2027, role of women and youth in building Nigeria's democracy through gender equality and leadership. 2027, role of women and youth in building Nigeria's democracy through gender equality and leadership. That is what our focus in today. Before my guests come in, let me quickly take my analysis this morning. Now, ahead of the 2027 general elections, there is a call on the Nigerian government to ensure a rapid approach to enforcing inclusivity in lawmaking and entire political processes, beginning with the National Assembly having more women. In Nigeria, inclusive governance faces precarious conditions marked by limited participation of marginalized groups, particularly women, youth, and people with disabilities in economic, social, and mainly political processes. Women suffer exclusion through the sexist political culture, financial constraints, violence and intimidation, cultural and religious norms, limited access to education and economic opportunities, and media representation and misrepresentation, among others. Nigeria's political instability is intensified by the exclusion of its youth, who form over 60% of the population, yet are marginalized in governance. Recommendations emphasize inclusive policies, scalable technologies, and multi-stakeholder collaboration to harness Nigeria's youth divided, and of course ensure that we bring them in. Take a look at the dividend for democratic resilience. So that is my analysis this morning, as we take a look at 2027 role of women and youth in building Nigeria's democracy through gender equality and leadership. 2027 must be different for all. That is my take. 2027 must be inclusive. We want to see more youth participation and, of course, women in the say of things come 2027. And, of course, we want to see that movement begin to grow, where the youth will have a say in how democracy is run in Nigeria. And of course, women are given their rightful places. The numbers begin to rise, and we see more women. Their voices are heard beyond what we've seen so far. In other climes, women have their voices heard in parliament, in governance. They are right there. That is the new Nigeria that we crave. And this morning, we want to find how we can begin to work towards that. Take a look at the challenges. Take a look at the gains. And of course, where we have challenges or solutions to that, ensuring that everyone is carried along. We'll take a break once again. And when we return, the conversation, stay with us.
Welcome to Aba in Abuja. The main agenda here is the promotion of made in Nigeria products.
Could this trigger the much needed change in the telecom industry for better service delivery?
Welcome to Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja.
A golden opportunity for the country to showcase its potentials among Committee of Nations.
Now, here comes the body, accompanied by her husband from India, where she has been receiving treatment.
Total liberalization of the communication sector
Will bounce back in view of the sentimental attachment to it by Nigerians. The need for the players of the industry to still put their acts together to consolidate on the previous efforts has therefore become imperative. That popular saying that necessity is the mother of invention is beginning to have effect on Nigeria for good. Reporting from Dubai.
Hello, I am Ruben Okala. I have not retired. I am refiring at KAFTAN TV. And as you see on KAFTAN TV, get back to work.
Yes, welcome back. It is still the press, and I'm glad to let you know that I have one of my guests in the house, and I'm going to do the introduction. My guest is Dr. Chinenye Attractor Ifyok. She is a political and economist lecturer in the Department of Political Science with the National Open University of Nigeria, with headquarters in the Faculty of Social Sciences. It's so nice to have you on the show this morning.
Thank you, Amiri. It's my great pleasure to be here.
Okay, so we're taking a look at something different. If you took the time to go through all the papers this morning, there was just one recurring screaming headlines: the return of the desire for the president to return. It already has 10,000 10 million, some papers said 10.9 million votes to return, some said 11 million votes to return, some 10.9 million votes to return. Bottom line, all we had on all the dailies this morning was that story with the president thanking those who gave him the vote to return as the president once again come under the under APC, as it were. Under APC, we have to be specific. That's the more or less the stories on all the papers this morning. The reason why we want to take a look at the topic, the place of women in leadership, gender equality, the place of the Nigerian youth in the mix towards 2027. And that is our focus this morning. Our topic, 2027, role of women and youth in building Nigeria's democracy through gender equality and leadership. Now, let us start by talking about our journey so far as Nigerians. Take a look at Nigeria's democracy. A lot of people say the Nigerian democracy is different from that which is practiced in other climes, that we are peculiar.
But Nigeria and democracy, and talking about other democracies in the world, our own is peculiar, and you deal with each one according to its peculiarity. It's not a general thing. Yes, as a democratic nation, there are some things that everybody should know. The government should be by the people and should be for the people and all of that. So it's a government that is being driven by the people, the choice of people. And that is what we are practicing. We were not devoid of what others are doing, you know, by election. So having looked at that, the journey so far with democracy is a movement. It's a movement because some people say, look at US, look at UK, look at this place, look at, yes, we look at them, but we don't have the same things. Not the same human beings are there, not the same mentality, the mental structure, not the same environment. Like those places over time had been built in the democracy, and it's a movement from bad to good, from good to better, and that's it. So if we are talking about Nigerian democracy, it's a movement. You know, it's a field, like a survey. Yes, it's a field like a survey, where people are there. As you are governing, you are ruling the people, you are seeing what the people are yearning for. Then you look at the economy again. Then you now know how to apply. But to say that you will take the one of US to come and apply here, or UK, or Canada, it might damble the whole thing.
Now, going by the definition of democracy, that you just gave us the definition of democracy before you started talking. Mm-hmm. If we practice democracy going by definition, I mean, I'm not playing devil's advocate here. If we go by the definition of democracy, not every nation practice democracy. Mm-hmm. I can confidently tell you that not all nations on earth, if you take the map of the world where you have people living, not everyone does that, but we practice democracy. Going by the definition, would you say, going by the definition, that we practice what we preach? Do we follow the definition? Does it apply to Nigeria? I'm sorry if I'm putting you on the spot this morning, but that is why you're here. Would you say that we have followed, or we're following the rules in the nation?
Thank you again. Yes, it's government of the people, for the people, by the people. That is the dictate of democracy. And Nigeria is trying to practice.
We are trying.
Yes, we are trying, but the fact is that, you see, we cannot condemn everything.
Okay.
Yes, we can't. the only thing is that when we see some loopholes, that is why it's democracy, freedom of expression. We talk, and I believe that the people, the government should hear and will do something about it. You know, when you look at the last time about the xenophobia thing in South Africa, like nothing was happening. Like the government was keeping quiet, but people started, social media, everybody, they started talking, they were yelling. What happened? One of us, by name, I think Fanny, said, I am going there. So we may not see everything that we desired for, but the fact is that when we see what we don't like, or the manifesto that was given has been deviated from, it's our right, fundamental human right, to say, look, what you promised us is not what you're doing. And the party, again, upon which that one came, should look at it so that they can continue to win people's hearts. But for me to start condemning our democracy, Nigeria is a very complex place and is large, very, very large. One state is very large. Lagos is large. Kano is large. Everywhere is large. So one person now manning this, yes, there are so many other supporters, appointees, elected representatives that are manning. But the fact is that they may not see everything. And that is why the masses are there, to look at what is not happening, and we need it. And that's why the CSO is there, that's civil society organization. So they are a non-governmental organization, and that is why also they should be, you know, represented in all spheres, so that they carry the people's mandates to the government, and the government will now improve upon it. Thank you.
No, a lot of people, like you rightly said, a lot of people have said that Nigeria is too big, too large for one person to rule. The Nigeria is too big. They've called that would take a look at regionalism. We should go back to the drawing board and ensure that we get it right. If we're towing a line and it's not working, we're coming from somewhere that it worked. We have experimented. Going forward, it hasn't worked. We should go back to the drawing board and take a look at systems that worked to ensure that we get it right. I don't know if you agree, because you too, you've confirmed that Nigeria is probably too big for one person to rule. Yes,
what you're saying is correct. And that's why I said in one of my analogies that they say so is that the civil society organization. And that's why you also came in and said, people are saying, who are those people? It's the masses, and represented by some people in the government that say, no, this is not just working. Maybe we should go back to drawing board. Yes, Nigeria is too large. I don't know how it can be divided, because it was tried sometimes in the past, sometime in the past, it didn't work. So, but that it should be divided, I don't understand how that one will start working. So by going back to the drawing board to look at how things should be done from the regional to the central, then that will also be a meaningful movement. Okay. Yes, that will be a meaningful movement. So that, you know, we are peculiar people. We are not same. We are not same. So these people will know how they operate. They will now bring their opinion leaders. They will look at what thrives in their place, how they do it, how they work it out, and what they believe in, and how they want to also meet the national goal to ensure that they are very competitive at the national sphere. Okay. So going back to drawing board will be a good movement. Okay. If you just joined us, it is The Press, and we're taking a look at 2027 role of women and youth in building Nigeria's democracy through gender equality. My guest is here. She is Dr. Chinenye Attractor Ifyok. She's a political economist lecturing in the Department of Political Science with the National Open University. We'll take a short, tiny break. When we return, more discussion. Stay with us.
Yes, welcome back. We're still here as we discuss Nigeria towards 2027. And I want to turn now to my guests because the other guests obviously can make it. Let's now take a look at the role of women in leadership. 2027 is around the corner. What should be the role of the Nigerian woman? Not forgetting gender inequality in the nation. We've had that problem. Of course, the Nigerian youth is also on one side. 2027, we've talked about it, is already here. We want a new Nigeria come 2027. And what should be the role of women, and how do we break the barrier of gender inequality?
Thank you very much. So, yes, we are looking at another election is coming, and that will be 2020. That's next year. Few months. You can count it in days and weeks. So the thing now is the role of women, that we want a new Nigeria. We cannot talk about new without a retrospect. We have to look at the past. How was it run? Then from there, what are the loopholes? What are the challenges?
Please go ahead.
What are the weaknesses? Then from there, you now take a proper analysis of who and who had been in the government. The male folk, what have they done? The female folk. And the females now are crying. Look, we are not evenly represented. We should not forget that it's being only masculine will turn to muzzle. It will be muzzle. So, but when the females are there, you might see somebody shouting, the woman will not be, no. Because she is made that way by the Creator. She will mellow things down. She will bring her voice. She will bring her opinion. Even when they know, you're a woman, you can't talk to me. The other one will say, she is talking sense. At the end of the day, things will work out well. We know, yes, it's not everyone, but there are some selected few. So what I'm saying is that for women and youth to be represented, it might not be, yes, they say 30%. When you look at it, at the Senate is 3%. At the House of Rep is 4% for women. So far now, statistically. So, and we appeal to the government. We are not saying it's a force, that they should look into it, because these people call women. After God made his creations, Adam did not still find any solace in everything God gave him, the whole world, until finally he made something or somebody out of him. Then what came out of him, according to the scripture, that's the Bible I read, and I know it's not far from the Quran and other scriptures too. It says, alas, this is the bone of my bones and the flesh of my flesh. So he found solace in that woman. So women have been trained. They have gone to school. And sometimes you see that some of them even express very high intellectual capacity. Yes. Yes, because these are the final creation of God. They focus very well. And when they call on God, God answers very fast. He does not, because they are his last one. He doesn't waste time. So we appeal to our male folk and the ruling class. Please look at the female folk. See how you can bring us up to a certain level. We are not saying that we want to rub shoulders with you, let it be equal number, let it be this. No. And it can be a survey, like an experiment, and see how they can work it out in the first 4 years. Be it appointive, be it elective. So things work out. These people called women chair the home. The man will just go and get money and drop it. And a proper woman will look at it. Now women work. they work, they say they hustle to get money. In short, their brains, they are multifaceted. Their brains are working 24/7 because they want to make it, they want to support, they don't want to be looked down upon. Not rubbing shoulder with the males, no. They don't want to be looked down, you are useless, you are lazy, you can't even do anything. You see, no, they take care of the forefront of the home. They manage things, they know when to go to the market, they know when to buy food, they know when to cook. So I don't get hungry, even if you're sorry, the food will soon be ready. Oh, children, sorry. They can even make something an improvised thing for one to eat, to hold the tummy while the main meal is coming. So this same person, and who has been trained appropriately, doing this and did not forget, I think also she will be also good in government. And again, looking at businesses, most of them, I saw Mary Bra, very good in her business. Very, very good. Then look at our own sister who is there in the US, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. She is doing very great. Some other men contested with her, but what happened? She became the DG. Besides, she was an MD in the World Bank, and she was our own Minister of Finance, and things went well. So when you look at it, and again, I want to also say this, I'm sorry. Women, they have this phobia. They don't have, some, not all, they don't have this mind to carry words and run away or go and stalk. Somehow they will be shaking. You know, they have that fear in them. Yes, so when you have somebody like that has some kind of fear, me, I don't want to be picked up because they say I embezzled money. They found so money in me, this and that. And she will now look that she has children. She will look back that she has a family, you know. And a family name. Yes, and a family name, her father's own name, and where she got married to. She wouldn't like those people to say where she has been married to. Yeah, it's bad. Even if she is not married, she has a family name, and she wants to maintain her own integrity, you see. So these are the things. So I think women should be looked into to be brought to limelight when it comes to political participation. Let's talk a little bit about the Nigerian youth. You've spoken about women extensively. We'll come to that again. What about the Nigerian youth? Do you think the Nigerian youth is fully recognized with the ability to actually have a say and a direction in governance in Nigeria? If no, if yes, let us know. And how do we have that inclusion in terms of the Nigerian youth in 2027? How do we give them that opportunity to be part of the steering of the nation towards the new democracy? Thank you again. You see, this is a balanced equation. We have the men, we have the women, we have the youth. Like where I come from, if you want to get married, you settle the men of that clan, of that place. You settle the women of that place. Everybody will bring their list, his or her list. Long list. No, seriously. So you settle the men? You settle the men. You settle the women? You settle the women. And you use money to go and collect that list. You settle them appropriately. Then also the youths will bring their own list. You settle them. That will be balanced equation. No wrangle, no rifle anywhere. So if we are practicing democracy, the youths also voted and can be voted. I think our former speaker, Oladimeji, he was a youth and he came on board. And since then, we have not really been seeing youths representation. Yeah, being represented even up to a little %. So I will also appeal to the government that he should also look into it. The male youth, the female youth. Also bring them on board so that they can be represented. Looking at the youths, when you look at the youths, both the able-bodied and those that are disabled too. Some of them are very intelligent, I tell you, highly intelligent. And they focus without derailing. And yes, they are youths, they can be guided. Don't do this, don't do this. You know, you spoil your political career, you spoil your name. You wouldn't like to go to prison, and they will hear. You see, so we can't just throw them away and say no, they are too small. Somebody, since we are small, young in the primary school, they say we are the leaders of tomorrow. You see somebody 40, he is not yet married because of what? Economy. He has not even found his foot, let alone getting married to get another person to bring to his house to cater for, and the offspring that will comfort. So I will appeal to the government through this medium to also look at the youths. I'm not saying that you should carry the youth and flood everywhere. No, at least carry out a little survey, pick some and put, you know, and you know that are okay alongside with the women, then with the men. Comparatively, when you do this like this, you see that things will work. The economy will start working, the GDP, the employment index, and you encourage them again in their various skills. It might not be all government, but now we're talking about government. Because when a youth is represented, he or she will go back to, because he knows at the end he's coming back, so he wouldn't want his mates to deal with him. So he would like to carry them along by doing things in the government. They say, yes, this government is good. You know why? Because the masses are feeling the vibe of the government. And that is what we are talking about. So it's an even thing. The men, the women, and the youths. Okay. Yes.
Now, 2027, we've already established that. We all know that the motion is towards, all the focus is towards 2027, the 2027 election, which is already here, more or less. So you're here today as the voice of the youth and the voice of the women. As we get there, I know there are expectations that you have, and with the focus of women, what do you think should be on the forefront now for women? What direction should they take? If you say we should put the women and the youth together, because during elections, they're the ones you see come out. You see more women coming out to vote. Yes, we talk about youth apathy all the time. We want to see that broken come 2027. We want more youth to get involved in Nigerian politics and the direction of democracy and leadership. The reason why we're taking a look at this, I have my opinion, you have yours, and the reason why you're here is to lend your voice to that expectation. So I'm asking, as 2027 approaches and when we get there, what should be the role of women in leadership and of course the Nigerian youth?
Thank you. The role of women
in 2027. Yes, and forward.
It should not be when 2027 has come. Excuse me. It should be from this moment.
From this moment.
We don't wait for that time. How are they preparing? Are they waxing strong? Are they having meetings, even the youths? How do they want to champion their own cause? So, the role of women should be for unity, development, economic growth, because there are children. The youths, the younger ones are still coming up. So we need an even development and growth according to the economic indices, like employment, national income, GDP, and also reducing poverty level. So these are the things. So the role of women should be, and the youths should be, consolidating together, looking out the challenges that are being faced by them, and seeing how best they can fit into the government. And you talked about not by having factions or you belong to me, you don't belong to me, you know, bringing those petty things. No, it doesn't suffice here. It doesn't fly here. So I will advise the women to start coming together, looking at themselves, look at your strength, look at your weakness, and look at the opportunity that you can, you know, usurp. And not when you get there, it will not turn to fashion parade. No, seriously, because somebody said it in the last few women that were taken, that it's not fashion parade for them all. You then forget what brought you there. No. Be focused. When you are focused, you don't need to say, vote for me, or I want to. People, in short, the government will say, please. They will even beg you, please, can you take this? Can you go for this? But when the person or the women have forgotten why they came and is now to go and show how they can wear very beautiful gowns, forget about this thing, it's not nice. But I know that most of our women and some of our women are very humble and they are focused, including the youth. And when the women are there and the youth are there, you know, when the youth wants to do something that is a bit silly, the woman will just say, mind you, remember how we came here? Mommy, sorry. Mama, sorry, I will not do it. How do I? The woman will guide, and the youth will fall in place again. So it's very, very pertinent. Men, they can listen to themselves. Sometimes, again, because of ego, they might not listen to themselves, especially when they have some kind of abuse. But when a woman is there, no matter the everything, oh yeah, you people come and kill me. I will not kill you. At the end of the day, there will be a fair play, everybody, you know, for everybody, and the matter will now see a resolution and a way forward. The most important thing is economic development, the democracy to work well, for the government to take proper dominance in government, no suzerainty, you know, they are in full charge and things are working. It might not work 100%, but it's working gradually and things are, you know, the results are being achieved.
Now the election is coming and most times the Nigerian youth are used for things that are not
totally under that.
Yes, not for positive results, you know, but for the negative. I also want you to throw some light on that for the Nigerian youth, especially when most of the people who use these youngsters do not even have their families back home. Just before the elections, the entire families are sent out of the nation. I've seen families where they have 5 nationalities. They have 5 they have 5 passports of 5 different nations. Even their house helps have 5 passports to 5 different nations. Their cleaners have passports because when they go, they carry them along because there will be someone there who will clean, who will cook, who will. So we need to pass that information for those who are waiting to sell their conscience for a bowl of porridge. So let us, again, try to talk to that demography.
Yeah, thank you very much. What I'm saying, what I will respond to that is this. I think people are getting wiser now, especially the youth. Yes, they may be hungry. Look, it might not be so. It might not be same again. It might not be. So? It might not be. See, because they know that, look, at the end, they dump them, if not finished. And you don't have a say. Yes. It's being believed that, look, I settled you, I paid you, so you just get out. I don't need you again. Whether they are paid or not, I don't know. It's not my business. But the fact is that they should wise up. Yes, our normal grammar, wise up. So they should be wiser than what it was. I saw in Ghana, I watched it myself, not a reported speech. They brought the ruling party, the government brought rice to give them and all that. Say, no, we don't need your rice. Just get on with your rice. We don't need it. What we need is this. We need this. We need this.
Dividends of democracy.
Yes. But for you to come and give us rice that will cook, no ingredients, and at the end of the day, when you defecate, it's over. And for that person, he has helped them. They threw those things away. We want our government to be better. We want to be part of it. And they knew that, yes, these people
are serious.
Yes, and it's the youth. So our own youth should also take lead from there. Not that because of little porridge, that after you go to the toilet and it's over, that's if you also remain, because the other is verse by verse, it's faction by faction, and you see sometimes deaths. Is that the kind of life that person has come to live, to be used and dumped and dead? And if he dies, of course, in such a cause, you and I know that heaven may be very far from that fellow.
At the end of the day, they are the ones who lose.
Because they didn't send him or her. So I will appeal to our youth to know what they want. Stop doing thuggery. If anybody feels he or she wants to do thuggery, no problem. They also have family. They can bring their families to come and do for them. It's not a problem. So whatever they say, they take it. But an innocent, poor human being looking for a way to survive, then you give him things, go and do this. If he or she loses his life there, mostly men, because it's the males. Females, I don't see them engaging in that. It's not that they don't, but the fact is that it's rare. So you do and lose your life, you're gone forever. And Christ is not going to welcome you. God is not going to say, hello, you did well, please come in. No. And as we are told, there's a life after here. So look at your own life, look at your family, look at your parents. If you're married, look at your own family holistically. It could be nuclear, it could be extended. And look at your own life. Is that the kind of life you beg from God to come and live on earth? To be used just like that and dumped. So let anyone that wants to play thuggery bring his family. They have lineage. They can bring their lineage and they will be doing thuggery, even their old people, no problem. But for our youths, they should desist from that and say, this is what we want. This is not what we want. Please, let's put it straight. And you know what? When you put your foot down, that this is what you want, they respect you.
Okay, so I appreciate you for coming in. We are almost done with our time, but before we go, there's something I do here. I give you 30 seconds to speak in your dialect to your people on the topic. I'm putting you on the spot this morning, and I want you to do that before we say our bye-byes. So that's your camera.
Divine. Ndewani. Hale kuya neva na KAFTAN TV katampe o basara ụmụ nwaanyị na youth n'okwu ndọrọndọrọ ọchịchị nke obodo anyị bụ Nigeria. Ya na-ekwu okwu ya bụ ka ụmụ nwaanyị nwee ike iso na ndọrọndọrọ ọchịchị ọwụ nke adọrọ adọ ka nke enyere enye a na-akpọ ya na bekee appointive or elective ka ụmụ nwaanyị na ndị ntorobịa na-eto eto ya bụ ndị youth soro kpanife a na-eme. So ihe a na-ekwu okwu ya anyị achọghị ka ụmụ youth anyị ndị ntorobịa bịa ihe awụrụ ndị a ga na-akpọ pie buru ha egbe ha ewere ya na-agagharị emechaa atụchaa aka n'isi ha ka onye ahụ aga ndị na nna ya na ụmụnne ya ka ha abụ ụmụ nwaanyị bikoni ka anyị were otu obi gaa na okwu ala anyị gọọmenti na ndọrọndọrọ ọchịchị ka anyị ike ijikwa ihe sị Chineke kere anyị kezi anya ma anyị nwekwara ike and obodo anyị Nigeria agakwa n'ihu
Thank you so much. I want to appreciate my guest this morning, Dr. Chinenye Attractor Ifyok, political economist lecturing in the Department of Political Science with the National Open University of Nigeria here in Abuja. I appreciate you, ma'am, for being on the show. And of course, a big thank you to everyone who made today's show a success, everyone behind the camera. I appreciate you so much. And for my guests who couldn't make it here, we'll talk after the show. My name is Anwe Beniche. This is the only nation we call home, Nigeria, the greatest nation on earth, the place where two rivers meet, where we have great, great humans. Stay safe and bye for now.